Herzlich willkommen auf dem 40. Filmfest München. Wir sitzen hier an einem mal ein bisschen regnerischen Tag im Pavillon oder unterm Pavillon und ich habe Besuch von Bernard Émond und ich bin sehr glücklich, dass er hier ist. Er feiert seine Weltpremiere von UNE FEMME RESPECTABLE hier bei uns and I had the most wonderful evening last night watching your new film in the movie theater where I think it should be watched and not on a laptop.
Yes, absolutely. The whole crew put a lot of attention to lighting detail, but also my cinema is centered on the actors, and it's a cinema of few words. There's a lot of silence, and watching it on a big screen like in the Ari Hall, you can see it's as if the soul of the character, the soul of the actress just flowed through to the public. It was wonderful.
This is not the first time that you made a film that is based on a story by somebody else, but this time it is not Chekhov.
No.
What is the story? Who's the story by? What did you like about it, and what did you change?
The story is by Pirandello. Most people know about his theater, but he also wrote hundreds of novellas, of short stories. It's based on one of his short stories. It's the story of a woman who has been left by her husband 11 years ago. And he comes back after the death of his lover with the three children that his lover had from him. And she accepts all of them in her house. I loved the story because the character is very complex and contradictory. Why does she take him back? Does she love him? Does she want to have children? Does she want to have revenge on him? And is she attracted to him? And it's the same thing for him. Why does he go back to this woman? He loves her, or does he want a shelter? Does he want someone to take care of his children? And during rehearsals, I told the actors, the main thing to know about these characters is that they don't know what they want, which is so human. We're all like that. And so they accepted this and made their characters very complex, very human. So what attracted me to this story was the main character, Mrs. Leuka in the short story, Madame Lemay in the film. I love her humanity, her complexity. And I wanted to do the film because I wanted to film an actress who played that. And Hélène Florent, a wonderful actress. In our country, she's very well known and very well loved. She accepted and really put the character on like a like a vest. And she's an actress with a lot of energy, a lot of talent. She can do anything. But I asked her to keep it all inside. And when you have an actress of that strength, with that kind of, she's powerful, but who accepts to constrain, to keep everything inside and through the eyes, the result can be wonderful.
I speak French, but I struggled a lot. I understand her,
Yes.
but I struggled so much with the other characters, and because I'm not so used to Québécois.
Yes.
Can you explain that, the different layers and levels of language?
The subtext of the story is the question of social classes. The woman is from the bourgeoisie, and her husband is the son of a worker. He went to college, but he's still the son of a worker. And in his language, it's so apparent. For a Québécois to hear both of them, you can immediately know. She's from a well-to-do family, he's the son of a worker. And in Quebec, the French spoken by the bourgeoisie is closer to the French spoken in France. But in the working class, in the peasant class, well, it's a French that still has a foot in the 17th century. One foot in the 17th century and another foot in the United States.
Yes.
So yes, and the question of language is very, very important. And when I was casting the actors, Hélène had a good upbringing. But the actor, well, he comes from a modest family. And the difference of social class that is in the story was also in the actors. And I found that very, very interesting.
What I found so impressive was the children. Sometimes when I see children in movies, I can tell, okay, the director decided to make it easy for them. You did not.
No.
They play such complex children, in such a difficult situation, having just lost their mother. And you said that on stage, I think yesterday, that you were scared of working with children.
Absolutely.
And how did you manage to get that out of them?
Well, I had an assistant whose specific work was working with the children. So of course we rehearsed. She was there all the time, and I'm a man of the 20th century. I don't understand contemporary children at all. I was brought up under authority. I was, things that are incomprehensible to contemporary children. So my assistant translated to them, and she translated well. She explained the character. She was the good mother, and I was the authority. So that worked all right. And often I had to tell them, because what fun for kids to be on the set in the studio. So many things to touch. I often had to do the old style father. Non, on travaille. Let's work now. And that mix of tenderness and authority did that, but also they're good. They're really good. And I must thank the casting director. I've worked with him a lot in past films. Excellent taste. He knows actors, and so it was. I owe a lot to the casting director and to the children's coach.
I want to ask you about Catholicism, because I know that you were raised in the Christian faith.
Oh, yes.
So was I. And we both don't believe in it anymore, really.
No.
But still, there's so much. Oh my God, God is punishing us right now.
Yes.
The world is going down. Still, you include so much faith and questions of religion and the Catholic Church in your films. Oh, now it's really it's scary. You include all these things in your films. Why do you do that if you've lost faith in the church? And
I have a nostalgia for my lost faith. I cannot believe, but I still think that we need some sort of transcendence. To me, religion is more symbolic than anything else, but it still tells us that there is something above us. And to me, this is important. Also, I love the Catholic tradition. That it's so alien to many Protestants. I love the decorum. I love the theater. But this is what made me. I was raised in the 50s in a very Catholic family, in a very Catholic country. And my whole world is colored by that. Young people entering a church do not know what is there. They cannot name the tabernacle. They cannot name and I think it's important. It's part of the cultural patrimony of the Occident. It's been there for 2,000 years. Well, not 2,000, but and it has shaped our way of thinking about the world. So no, in my country, there was a strong rejection of that whole patronage. When the church lost power in the 60s, people rejected it en masse. They rejected nobody goes to church anymore. I think it's a loss. Not going to church is not that bad, but the loss of this depth of meaning, this symbolic riches. I don't know how young people can go in a museum without knowing this. How they can recognize
The influences.
and what is shown. So I certainly do not reject it. And you know, there are a lot of. I take Christian belief as a metaphor. I love the idea of the original sin because it tells us there's no original sin. But what the story tells us is that we have in ourselves the resources for evil. It's there. We have it. And so to me there's a lot of symbolic riches in that.
So I think you might be one of the few people who doesn't mind the weather because you're used to tough weather in Canada. So I have one last question before the world is finally ending.
Before we know,
This is our 40th birthday of the Film Fest Munich. So do you have any, I don't know, like wishes you have for us as a festival? What do you think we should celebrate? What should we be proud of? And what does it mean to you to be here for our birthday?
well, I think that a festival should celebrate cinema, not advertising, not entertainment. And this festival here does that really well. But at the same time, you have a wonderful cinematheque in Munich. I wish that the festival will take inspiration from these old films from the past, from that riches. Voilà.
So thank you so much. It's been a pleasure to have you here, and thanks for bringing your beautiful film to Munich. Thank you so much. Merci beaucoup.
Merci madame.